Alrighty guys, so this is the part right here that broke off the housing. That's where this part bolts to the mount bracket. The bolt runs through there. Because the light doesn't turn like this, it'll turn like that, but not this way. Not the midway light anyway. So I had some of an epoxy, a 2 parts epoxy, and I mixed it together, and I had this thing in the house for 2 days. We pieced it, we epoxied it, basically it's glue, and I'm going to give this a try. I'm hoping that this will work. So all we got to do now is go to the tractor, mount it, and get the light and everything back in place. And see how long it lasts, I guess, right? That should be, by the way it all looks, it should work, but for how long, who knows? We'll find out soon enough. If it breaks off right away with me bouncing around with the tractor, well then you know I'm gonna have to get a new one. Anyway, let's get her put together. So that's how she goes on, just like that right there. Now for the lightages, and I might have to set you guys down because there's really no place to set you up to show you what I'm doing. So yeah, I'll bring you back here in a minute. Alrighty, well, she's all mounted back up again. So, I guess we'll, I'm not too worried whether it turns on or not, because the biggest thing here is to see if that housing's going to hold, especially with this cold weather. Hot, cold, did that epoxy make good enough contact to hold the housing together? If it doesn't hold, then we'll have to get a new housing. If it holds, cheap fix. Like literally, I had the epoxy here, so it just took time. That's all. I think the bottle of epoxy was, it's a Gorilla Glue product. JB Weld makes it also. But if I remember correctly, I only paid like 15 or 20 bucks for that epoxy stuff. So, anywho, what else is happening? Cutting steel, that's what's happening. We are, started cutting steel for windbreaks. Whoops, wrong spot. There we go. It takes a long time to get all the steel cut because on the windbreaks, pretty much all of my steel cutting is done with a bandsaw, and everything is saddle welded. And that's what I mean by saddle welds. So for every cut, for every weld saddle, it's 2 cuts. For every piece of steel, it's a total of 4. So I'm going to keep continuing on here. We'll catch you guys later. Morning, everybody. It's nice having a fence line feed system, and when you want to sprinkle grain down, you just walk along. You don't have to worry about animals running you over when you're dumping it in the mangers or anything like that. The other nice part is, and if I had a square tubing bender roller, I'd make some. That feeder, that's a 2-bale feeder, and it's all hoops. Basically, it's a round bale feeder, like the rings for 1x1 inch square tubing round bale feeder. You just take the rings, cut them in half, weld it into that framework, and suspend it off the ground about 2 feet. And that works really good for these calves that they could go underneath and pick up the fines, the grass fines and alfalfa fines, and get some leaf as the cows pull it out. That one, I bought that son of a bitch like 20 years ago, and it works really nice. I really like it for when you got cow-calf pairs. Looks like I'll be probably having topped these girls off in the morning. If they don't clean up the cut feed here today, it'll be in the morning that they get topped off. And since Sashi's been bad, not listening when you call her, she just totally ignores you. That's why she's tied up with a cable to the side-by-side. She has to stick with the machine. I did not start a fire in this thing yesterday, and there is some ice. Not a lot, but it's soft. It's just mushy. I'll start a fire in it later. It's been warm. Today it's supposed to get up to +4 or +5. So downside to our fence line feed, the calves crawl through it. Not that that's a bad thing, but they get access to all the good feed, and they're starting to nibble on a little bit of grain. Anywho, I managed to convince CP to give me a hand, and we sorted 4 more cows off. Orange 8, yellow 68, and orange 37, and orange 17 / green. I can't remember her green tag number. 108K or some damn thing like that. Come on, Sash, let's go. Anyway, I'll bring you guys back later. Alrighty guys, how's it going today? So here we have 14 7'6" saddle cut pieces. Over here we have 25, 10.5 inch and 6 inch saddle cut pieces. And we're working on another 4. Actually, I only need 2. That'll be 3 windbreaks, but regardless, I'll cut this whole length. I should get 4 pieces out of it at 7'6". This is all 2 7/8 oil field pipe, so yeah, takes a while, but we should get it all done today. Oh shit, excuse me. When I get this piece done, I got to bring a couple more pieces up. And then we got to cut 8-foot long straight cuts, 11-foot long straight cuts, and then our 24-foot long straight cuts. And then I got to get some 3 by 3/8 or 3/16 by 3 flat bar, which I do not have any. I'm all out. I'm not using this 1/4 inch. I'll save that for other repairs or stuff that we might build. But yeah, the 3/16 means I'll have to make a trip to the city. So, fun. Let's get after it. And this would be end of day. It's pushing 6 p.m. And I fed them for the first time today. with the feed that was in these two bunks and the feed that was left over in the bunks out in this paddock pasture, this 2.5, 3 acres, whatever it is. I figured I'm not feeding these guys. So I just kind of topped these two bunks in this corral off. And they're not even diving into it. It's not like they're overly hungry. So 2 bucket loads. We did pull 4 cows out of here. So they're in the next corral over, just to keep a closer eye on those ones. One of them's got a bad foot that I hope to get to doctoring on here this weekend. But anyway, basically what happens now, until we're done calving, we feed in the evening inside that corral. The gates get closed and they're locked in there. If somebody does happen to calve, they're in there, not out here where goddamn Coyote, or if she's having trouble, I can get her into the barn easy through here. So if she's out here, then you got to fight with them to get them in that corral and then into the barn and so on and so forth. So anywho, I'm calling her quits. You guys have a good day. Sash and I are gonna go have some suppers. Talk to you later.